yogis, climbers, and today I'm specifically talking to runners. A lot of people have been getting outside, hitting the streets and the trails a lot more due to having to stay inside so much. So running is a great way to work on that cardiovascular health and get a nice kick of endorphins afterwards. But it does leave us feeling quite tight in the hips, the leg muscles. So today we're going to focus on finding that balance and loosening things up. What could be helpful to have for your practice today is any pillow, like a couch throw pillow might work, even a yoga block. This would be the easiest thing to work on our ankle stability and balance on. The pillow, depending on how firm or squishy it is, that could be a little bit more difficult. And then I have this ProForm stability cushion. I don't know what it's actually called, but if you have anything like this or a Bosu ball, that would work great for our balance section. Also, I'm going to keep my blocks at the end of my mat today. I'll show you why as we get into it. They'll be helpful there. So right at the beginning, let's lubricate the hips. So you're going to find a little bit of a lean back, holding onto the back of your thighs. Begin to roll yourself backwards. So in this lean back, we're going to circle the knee out to the side and lubricate the hips. If you want to hold on to the front of the shin instead, you can. So we're getting a little bit of core activation here. And again, we're just working into the hip joint, starting to prepare it for the rest of our stretches. Let's take that in the opposite direction. There's one more here. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Maybe focusing your gaze if you're having a trouble with balance at all. Notice the muscles along your midsection engaged to hold this shape. Stay with that breath as you move the knee inward. One more circle to the inside. Resting that down as you come all the way up to sit upright with a nice tall spine. Find your knees crossed. Now here, if you want to stack a couple blocks underneath your knees, you can if you're feeling any tightness or stress on the knee joint. And then we're just going to take this into a bit of a fold. So allowing your torso to start draping down, finding that appropriate edge for yourself. So if you're here and you're finding a lot of rounding in the spine, you might not be working into loosening up the hips or finding any more of a deepening in your stretch. So if that's happening, there's no availability to move forward, I would just stay upright. Again, if you come forward, we're coming forward with a flat back. So little by little, walking the hands further out, maybe forearms drop. Trying to weight the sit bones. Notice if your seat is lifting off of the mat. Try to keep your seat nice and heavy and grounded. Blocks could be helpful underneath the forehead if you'd like to take some of that stress off of the neck and just let your torso feel as heavy and relaxed as it possibly can be. You might be feeling a bit of the length in the glute muscles or the hamstrings. Take one more deep breath in. Slow, relaxed breath out. And inhaling as you come upright. I'm going to swing the legs around. Coming into table, extend just your left toes back, finding that length in your calf muscle as you press the heel to the wall behind you. And dropping that knee down, we'll take it into the other side. We're going to take this just a little bit further now. So taking your left toes, and we're going to go right between the big toe and the second toe, and we're just going to sort of grab the Achilles tendon, pulling back that heel even more dramatically. And let's release that side down again into that left side. Taking it a little bit further with that lock of your toe. So the back of your ankle is going right between the big toe and second toe. Calm, relaxed face. Core very much engaged in this plank. And then we'll press it all the way back into our downward facing dog. Fingers are spread wide on the hands, and you can walk your heels out one at a time. Really pressing that floor away from you, pressing the mat forward so that your weight isn't stacked over the top of the wrists, but you're shooting that energy through the torso and up out of the sits bones. And then we're going to walk the hands back toward our feet. And this is where those blocks might be helpful if you need something to hold on to. And feel free to bend the knees as much as you need to. We never want to lock out the knee joint, but keep a softness here, especially if the hamstrings are really tight. We're going to bend them even more so that our torso is invited into this humble bowing shape. Surrendering our torso down and bringing a little bit more weight into the toes so that we get our glutes aligned right over the top of the feet. It can feel nice to sway a little here, or take the hands from side to side. All right, we're going to slowly walk the hands back out to downward facing dog. Lifting just the right foot high into three-legged dog. Bend the knee, and then we're going to place that foot right over the top of the left foot and walk our hands back. Again, this one especially, since it's a little bit more intense, nice to have those blocks close by to hold on to. So just fired up the intensity on the left leg, feeling into the calf even more. The IT band along the side of that bottom leg. Again, it might feel nice even here to walk the hands one direction or the other. See where your edge is, see where it feels delicious for you. And then we'll move those blocks bend the knees a lot here to get your hands onto the mat. Stepping that foot back and lifting the left leg high. As the knee comes into center, we cross the left foot over the right. Walk back. And maybe if you don't need to hold on to anything, the hands don't reach the ground either. You can hold ragdoll arms. Might even feel a little bit balancy here. So focusing your gaze, relaxing the muscles of the face. Slowly walking your hands out, bringing that foot back into your down dog. Again, the right toes lift high, and we walk that foot forward. So now we're into our low lunge. We're going to drop that back knee down, and here, if you feel like you'd like something to help lift your torso higher, come back, grab your blocks, and as you come forward, you'll have blocks underneath your hands, if that's helpful. Placing a hand to the inside of the knee might also be helpful, especially if you don't have those blocks. And maybe your chest is sort of bumping into your knee. If you bring your hand to the inside of your foot, it might not hinder your range of motion here. So while we hold this lunge, we're just feeling into the sensation, keeping the big toe ball mound of that right foot really pressing down. And maybe a few times lifting and lowering that back knee. Noticing how that changes sensation. Now, either when the knee is lifted or lowered, see what feels best for you. You can cushion that joint with a blanket if needed. We'll take our right hand to our right thigh, and we're just going to press into that thigh to get into a nice twist. Now, if you don't want to come so deep into the twist, but just really feel into that length of the psoas and quad, you're going to make sure your hips are side by side, right, nice and square. And then as you find that press into the thigh, give yourself a little bit of forward and back movement. So I'm just kind of micro adjustments, coming more forward, really feeling into that length in the left quadricep. Again, knee can be up or down, either is fine. All right, let's slowly release out of that. And then we'll dial our back heel down and in. Toes are pointing to the side wall as we cartwheel up into our warrior two. From here, a side angle, forearm comes to thigh, top arm lifts to the sky. Making sure your knee is stacked right on top of that ankle. If you'd like to go further, you can take that top hand, bind it behind the back. It can be placed on the sacrum or wrapped to the inner thigh. And then if you'd like to drop this supported forearm down, sometimes you can hold right onto the ankle, the foot, so you're not asking so much strength of the legs, but you're still getting deeper into the stretch. And then I use my tricep to press back and open the knee a little bit more. slowly release, taking that bind or top hand down. I'm gonna pivot on the back foot to lift my heel. And I'm gonna walk that foot a bit closer, getting my blocks as I prepare for pyramid pose. So in our pyramid pose, it's very typical for the right foot that's more forward, for that hip to also be more forward. So I'm going to take the head of that femur bone, I'm going to pull it in, pull it toward the socket, and also slightly bring that left hip more forward. Now I came up to sort of show you what that would look like, but you can be doing it here, those little micro adjustments. On an inhale, we come more toward straight with that front leg, half rise of the spine. And then with an exhale, let's soften into our Parshvottanasana. It's up to you if you'd like to hold there, or you can inhale, half rise, exhale, release. Continue to check in with the hips, making sure they're square. Notice both toes are facing forward. Inhale to a half lift, stepping your back foot further away. Moving the blocks if you're using them. We'll step back to plank and right back into our downward facing dog. Holding in stillness or walking out your dog. And then inhaling as the left leg lifts high. And exhaling as you step that foot through. Finding the proper distance between your feet, both forward and back. You're going to find your appropriate edge with how far apart your feet are, and also the width. So if you step forward and your left foot is in front of your right foot, it's going to make my hips feel really narrowed. It's going to make balance difficult. So having that foot wide enough apart, about the same width of the feet as are your hips. And again, if you'd like blocks, you can use blocks. Maybe the left hand comes to the inside of the left foot. A couple times up and down with the knee is going to change sensation as well. Never collapsing into the joint. So even as I drop the knee down, I am still keeping firm in my glute muscle, especially that right glute, totally fired up. Hamstrings still engaged. So I'm protecting this form, the shape of this posture. All right, let's take it into that twist. Back toes can be curled under, especially if you are still lifted off the knee or if you want to come up and down. If you're letting that back knee be relaxed, maybe you come to the shoelace side of the foot and relax the toes as well. So feeling into this twist, traction of hand against thigh, micro adjustments forward and back, feeling into the hips, still pulling that left femur bone in, swinging that right hip a little bit more forward, trying to keep right shoulder stacked over right hand throughout. Explore your inner world, inner sensations. and we'll slowly release. As we bring our back toe back onto the ground, to lift the knee, dial back heel down and in, and cartwheel up into your warrior two. Taking your time to find your proper alignment. And then we'll take that side angle posture. Support your weight with your forearm to your thigh to start. Stack the shoulders. If you'd like, place that hand onto your sacrum or that full bind. If this feels like enough, stay here. No need to go further. Maybe you bring your hand to a block at any given height, and you still have that availability to press your left knee further back with a little bit of help from that left arm. You can look down if that feels best on your neck. You can look up. Keep a neutral neck. Slowly releasing. Pivoting on the back toe, finding your blocks. So both toes facing forward, guiding that left hip a little bit more back, right hip more forward. Hopping in to your Parsvottanasana. So in order to get my back heel planted down, I need to bring my feet closer together. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release. Continue to flow up and down with the breath, or just hold in one place if that feels best for you. If you find your hands are close enough to the ground, maybe tented fingers, maybe you don't need the blocks. Try not to think about the blocks as a crutch. Honestly, it's a bit of an art form, knowing when to grab blocks, how to use them. So you can really take your practice to the next level, and it's not something ever to feel down on yourself when you need a little bit of assistance, you want a little bit of assistance. They're great tools. Let's just take one more deep breath in. Slow breath out. And as we come to that halfway lift of our spine, rebending the front knee, walking the back foot further away. Stepping back, this time into our plank. Maybe a few shifts onto the tips of the toes and back. And into your downward facing dog. Walking your hands back toward your feet and inhaling as you come on up to stand. Okay, so this is where we're going to grab one of those, maybe it's a pillow. You can do this on a block, or if you have a stability cushion of some sort, that would be great. So often when we're running, we can get tight in the ankle, and we can also, we're really concerned if we have any weakness in the ankle. So this is going to help to strengthen those tiny muscles of the foot and ankle. As we place one foot onto the ball, focus your gaze to help with balance. Maybe hands to hips or hands out by the sides. And then we're gonna just take a sweep of the leg. Ooh, it's tough. Let's take that leg out to the side and then cross it in front of the other foot. And I'm breathing in and out. Just one more here. Awesome. We can also take a runner here. So as we take the foot that's not balancing back into a bend, opposite way. So now that knee's coming forward to opposite elbow. When the knee goes back, that elbow comes forward. Depending on what you're balancing on, these can be really tricky. And it's how much you want to challenge yourself. So finding that appropriate challenge for your body today. One more. Coming on down and giving that foot or ankle a little bit of release, a little love, shaking it out. Now, if you do have any weakness in the ankles or you're a trail runner, you might have noticed there's a big difference between a slight roll of the ankle, one of those ones that just makes your heart stop, but doesn't actually hurt, and then, a type 3 sprain, which is not something to play around with. Sprains take forever to heal, and there will always be something a little off with that ankle, I know from experience. So again, the strengthening exercises are super important, and you might find, the reason I mention this, a difference between the left side and the right side, so you can always change what you're balancing on if needed. I like these airplane arms, like a tightrope walker has that big pole to help them balance. Stay with the breath. Just one more on this. All right, and then we'll come into those runners. So let's see, knee's gonna come forward. Let's take opposite elbow forward. Oh, knee goes back. Whew. This is my bad ankle. So tough. So let's bring in that compassion, that mercy. Give ourselves a tap on the back, or a pat on the back, I should say, for trying our best. Focus that gaze. Calf muscles working hard here too. Oh God, one more. Can move that off to the side as we are done with it. And let's give these legs and feet a little bit of TLC in a relaxed posture. If you'd like, in your Baddha Konasana, bound angle, some support underneath the knees, you can use your blocks. This is where we give some love to our toes. So I like to just take my hand and sort of wrap it around the top of the toes, give them a nice pull down, and then you can also pull them back. I'm lifting my leg to show you, although this kind of feels nice too. And then take your thumbs to the outer edge of your foot and then just open the sole of the foot with the thumbs, sort of like you're opening the pages of a book. And you decide how close the knees are, or sorry, the feet are to your hips. So the closer they are in, the more intense this is gonna feel. And always walk those heels further away. And last but not least, a stretch of the toes that I love is taking one finger, your first finger, sticking it between the big toe and the second toe. And then one at a time, you're gonna weave your fingers to the inside of the toes. You're gonna do this in your bound angle. You do it both sides at once. Takes a little bit to get the fingers in there. So as climbers especially, we stick our toes into these tiny binding shoes, and it's nice to give them a little bit more opening. Now, if the space of your fingers between your toes is not enough, you can also try to spread your hands open and make even more space in between the toes. All right, and then releasing them, one final pull back of the toes. All right. We're gonna take our blocks once more, and we're gonna bring it right to our psoas. We're hoping the edge of the block gives a little press into the psoas. So if this is my belly button, I have the block just a few inches below my belly button, and these corners of the block are going to give a press in. And do all of this on my belly. So find that appropriate spot. And then we'll bring our forehead to the back of our right hand. Grab hold of the left foot, left ankle, for a quad stretch. If this feels too intense with the block, you have two options. One, place a blanket over the block to soften the edge, or you can do your quad stretch without the block at all if it's just too much. Pulling that heel nice and close into your seat. And then if you'd like, you can take that right hand out underneath your forehead forward and then kicking the left foot back into a bow pose if this isn't too much pressure onto that block. And slowly releasing. Left hand underneath the forehead, grabbing hold of that right ankle. Kicking into that foot, bringing the left hand leg forward. If you want to take it into a half bow pose. Balancing on that block, breathing in, and breathing out as you release. All right, coming off of your block, and onto your backs. I forgot we need a strap. Okay, so this is a good time for you to hit pause. You have that availability to hit pause on your device and grab a strap or a belt. One of those long yoga straps are great, but a tie, even a long tube sock would help. I'm just gonna do it without a strap. So we're gonna keep our left foot planted on the ground. We're gonna take that strap, wrap it around the sole of the right foot, We're gonna pull on the tail ends of that strap so your knee comes in toward your shoulder. Okay, I'm gonna do this with my hands because I don't have a strap. And then we're gonna extend that leg straight up. Breathe in, pull the knee down, breathe out, extend up. Wind removing pose and lengthen. I'm gonna try using my sweatshirt here. Let's see how this works. Perfect. Now if you want to make this more intense, you can extend that left leg straight. And the next time you extend the right leg up, let's take an E version of the foot. So we're gonna press, inversion of the foot. We're gonna press the outer edge of that foot up to the sky. Pull down in a neutral foot, and then press up, outer edge goes to the sky. Now the next time we do this, let's do that E version. Now the inner edge of our foot is reaching up. We're pulling on that right hand even more to try to get the outer edge of our foot down to the ground. Much harder to do that E version. One more. Good, let's take the tail ends of that strap just into the right hand. Left arm comes out. We're gonna open that leg out to the side. Try to keep your left side grounded. So left foot still on the ground. Maybe you have to keep that knee bent, and that's fine. I like to sometimes take my left hand, press into the front of my left hip, just keeping things nice and open. And then we're gonna bring that leg up. Now if your knee is bent on the left side, it makes the twist a little harder here. So straighten that leg out, take the right leg across, reach the right arm out, and turn your gaze to the right for a nice twist of the spine. Getting all sorts of lovely sensations through the outer calf, IT band, and then we'll bring that leg up, release the strap, whatever you're using to assist you. We'll take that into the left side. Bending, again, pulling that knee to the outside of the rib cage, down toward the armpit or the shoulder, and up. Let's take that inversion. So we're trying to peek at the sole, the sole of our foot. Outer edge is reaching up. The next time you press up, E version, inner edge of the foot lifts up. I don't have a great range of motion there. Hopefully you have a little bit more. I find pulling on that outer edge with the strap a little further helps. All right, the next time it comes up, we're gonna take it into the hip opening. So all of your tail end of the strap is in the left hand. We open things wide. Remember, right leg has the option to straighten during any of that flow. Placing a couple of blocks underneath the foot can be helpful too. If it's hard for that left foot to just hang out in space, we're trying to keep our hips squared. If you're lifting the right buttock in order to get that left foot flat, you're gonna wanna lift the foot, place a couple blocks under the foot to help hold it up. We're gonna bring foot back through center and across the body, looking in the opposite direction. Same idea, either your right elbow is on the ground and that might be a little bit of a kickstand for you, or a couple blocks underneath the foot. Bring that leg back up, releasing the strap down. Final postures. Crossing your right thigh as high as you can over the left thigh. So we're trying to get the knees stacked one on top of the other. We're going to take those feet, we're going to grab the outer edge of the feet. Now, some will find they need to lift the head in order to get this hold, and if that's happening for you, placing one or even two blocks underneath your sacrum can help bring those knees up and make it easier to grab your feet. We're guiding those feet further away, giving that little pull. And here I'm feeling a really nice stretch in the right IT band, right glute. Cow face pose, or Gomukhasana, in this reclined variation. Slowly releasing as we take it into the other side. Notice if your heels are in close to your seat, it's going to be 1 degree of sensation, or if you kind of let them fly like wings out to the side, you might find your appropriate edge there. And releasing. We'll take it into a figure 4. Again, blocks underneath you, super helpful, but not necessary. Keeping that right foot flexed, dorsiflexion, toe toward shin to protect the knee. And we're aligning that knee right with our shoulders. We reach through our thighs. We're gonna bind the hands. Maybe they're binding to the back of that left thigh, and maybe they're coming to the front of the shin. Sometimes I find when I have a block underneath me, I can just let my arms relax, and the block sort of lifting my legs and doing the work instead of me pulling. And then we'll gently come into the other side. So finding that alignment first, dorsiflexion, knee aligned with shoulder, and then beginning to pull it in close. Maybe hand reaches through thighs, holding on to the leg in your appropriate edge. Taking a deep breath in, slow sigh out, releasing from your posture. Maybe this is a nice place to have legs straight up, As you close your eyes and you just rest here, trying to stack your feet over your knees, over your hips. Again, I have this supported inversion with a block underneath me. If you don't have a block, that's fine. Or if you are used to doing a shoulder stand in your practice, maybe you're lifting those hips right up off the block, cradling the hip points, iliac crest with the hands. Holding in either of these postures as long as you'd like. Holding in that restorative posture for as much time as is needed, honoring your body, both the capabilities it has and its incapabilities, and bowing deeply to this mind, the motivation it takes to practice, to find that balance and self-care. Thank you so much.